Have you ever felt a quiet, persistent echo of a life you were supposed to live? That feeling isn't just your imagination. It's a deep, ancient sensation, a quiet pull from a version of reality that runs parallel to your own. It's the strange sense of nostalgia for a memory you never made, or the sudden, sharp pang of knowing you were meant for something else, something more. This is the language of the soul, trying to remind you of a path, a choice, a version of you that still exists, just out of sight. You are not alone in feeling this divide between the life you have and the life that calls to you. In our time together today, we will explore what these signs mean. We're going to talk about the idea that another version of you, a self from a parallel path, is trying to send you a message. This isn't about science fiction, but about the deep, intuitive knowledge that ancient traditions have spoken of for millennia. You will learn to recognize these subtle communications, to understand why they are happening now, and what they are trying to guide you towards. If this feeling is familiar to you, share your experience in the comments below. This space is a sanctuary for conversations that have been silenced for too long. By sharing, we remind each other that we are not imagining these deep inner currents. And if you wish to continue this journey into the quiet truths of the self, subscribe and join us so you don't miss these essential explorations. The great thinker Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." What does this truly mean? It means that the parts of yourself that you do not see, the potentials you have not lived, and the memories your soul holds are not gone. They exist in the deep, unseen parts of your being. This parallel you is part of your own unconscious, and its silent pull, which you might mistake for sadness or regret, is actually a guide, trying to become known to you. Let us now go deeper and learn to listen to what this other self is trying to tell you. The communication from this other self, this parallel you, is not a shout across the void. It rarely is. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, prefers the language of whispers, of echoes, of signs that you might dismiss 100 times before one of them finally catches the light in just the right way and makes you pause. So, let us begin with the most common, the most gentle of these messages, the ones that are so easily mistaken for something else. We must learn to see them not as random occurrences, but as carefully placed breadcrumbs on a path leading back to a fuller understanding of who you are. The first sign is a feeling you know well, but have likely mislabeled your entire life. It is the sudden, deep, and unexplainable wave of nostalgia for a time or a place you have never known. Think about it. You are listening to a piece of music, perhaps from a decade long before you were born, and a feeling washes over you. It is more than just appreciation for the melody. It is a profound sense of homesickness, a longing to return to a place that doesn't exist in your memory, to a life that is not in your biography. You might see a photograph of a city in the 1940s, a street corner with old cars and people in hats, and your heart aches with a feeling of recognition. You feel you have walked that street. You have felt that specific afternoon sun on your skin. What does the mind do with this? The logical mind, the one that keeps you safe and grounded in this reality, rushes to explain it away. I'm just an old soul, you might tell yourself. It's a comforting thought, a simple box to put a complex feeling in. Or you might say, I've just seen so many movies from that era, my brain is confusing it with the real memory. You rationalize, you categorize, you diminish the experience to make it fit within the known world. Because the alternative, the truth of the feeling, is too vast to consider. But I want you to consider it now. That feeling is not a trick of the brain. It is an emotional echo. Imagine that your parallel self, in their stream of life, had a profoundly important experience connected to that very thing. Perhaps that song was playing on the day they met the love of their life. Perhaps they lived in that city, on that very street corner, and spent their happiest years there. Their life, their emotions, are vibrating at a certain frequency. And when you encounter a trigger in your reality, that song, that image, you are tuning into their frequency for just a moment. You are not remembering your past. You are feeling their present, or their powerful memory. It is a message of pure emotion. It's your other self, communicating not with words, but with feeling. They are telling you what is important. They are sharing with you what moves the soul. When you feel that strange nostalgia, do not dismiss it. Pause. Breathe into it. Ask yourself, what is this feeling trying to tell me? Is it joy? Is it sorrow? Is it peace? It is a piece of your own emotional puzzle, sent from a version of you who has already lived it. It is a reminder of the emotional landscapes that also belong to you. This is not about wishing you lived in another time. It is about recognizing the emotional depth and the specific qualities of happiness and meaning that your soul is drawn to. Qualities that your other self is experiencing and wants you to find in your own way, in your own life right now. The next sign is one that modern life has taught you to call coincidence. But we must reclaim the older, truer word for it: synchronicity. Synchronicity is more than just a happy accident. It is the universe conspiring to get your attention. It is a moment when the fabric of reality seems to grow thin, and you can see the threads connecting everything. You think of an old friend you haven't spoken to in 10 years, and your phone rings. It's them. You are struggling with a specific problem, and you overhear two strangers in a cafe discussing the exact solution. You keep seeing the same sequence of numbers everywhere you look, on clocks, on license plates, on receipts. 1111. 333. The logical mind, once again, has a simple explanation: confirmation bias. You were thinking about your friend, so you noticed their call more. You were looking for an answer, so you filtered the conversations around you. You saw the number once, and now you're just looking for it everywhere. Again, this is the mind's attempt to keep the world small, manageable, and devoid of magic. It is a defense mechanism against the overwhelming truth that you are deeply, profoundly connected to the world around you, and that the world is often trying to speak to you. Let's look at this differently. These synchronicities are not random. They are markers. They are signposts, deliberately placed in your path by a consciousness that knows the way. And what is that consciousness? It is the higher awareness you share with your parallel self. The version of you who is not bogged down by the doubts and fears of this specific life path has a clearer view. They can see the map of your potential. When you are at a crossroads, feeling lost or uncertain, your other self sends a signal. They arrange a coincidence to nudge you. That phone call from an old friend isn't just a call. It's a reminder of a part of yourself you may have forgotten, perhaps a more joyful, more carefree you. The overheard conversation is not just noise. It is a direct answer, a piece of guidance, delivered to you in a way you cannot ignore. And the numbers? The numbers are one of the purest forms of this communication. They are a universal language, free from the baggage of human words. They are symbols. Seeing them repeatedly is like receiving a little nod from your other self, a little confirmation that says, yes, you are on the right track. Keep going. Or, pay attention. A choice is coming. The numbers are a way for your guide, your other you, to let you know that they are there, that they are watching, and that you are not walking this path alone. So the next time a meaningful coincidence happens, resist the urge to laugh it off. Accept it as a gift. See it as a deliberate act of love from a part of you that wants you to succeed. Pause and say thank you. Acknowledge the sign. The more you acknowledge these synchronicities, the more they will happen. You are teaching the universe and your other self that you are finally listening. You are opening a channel of communication that has been dormant for far too long. What message has been trying to get through to you? What coincidence have you recently dismissed that perhaps you should reconsider? Now, let us move deeper into the realm of the night. The third sign comes to you in your dreams. But I am not speaking of the usual chaotic, nonsensical dreams that your brain creates to process the day's events. I am speaking of a very specific kind of dream. A dream that feels more real than waking life. In this dream, you are you, but you are also not you. You might have a different name. You live in a different house, maybe a different country. You have a different job, different relationships, perhaps even a different family. And the dream is not dramatic or fantastical. It is mundane. It is ordinary. You are simply living. You are making breakfast. You are driving to work. You are having a quiet conversation with a partner you have never met. But in the dream, you love them with your entire being. The sensory details in these dreams are astonishing. You can smell the coffee. You can feel the texture of the steering wheel in your hands. You can feel the warmth of the sun coming through a window that does not exist in your waking world. The emotions are not dream emotions. They are real. The love, the sense of purpose, the feeling of contentment. It is all utterly, completely authentic. And then you wake up. The waking is the most jarring part. For a few moments, or even a few hours, you are overcome with a profound sense of dislocation. You look around your bedroom, and it feels foreign. You see your real-life partner next to you, and for a split second, they feel like a stranger. And you are filled with an overwhelming sense of grief, a deep and painful longing for the life you just left behind. You miss the family you had in the dream. You ache for the feeling of peace you had in that other kitchen, in that other life. The rational mind struggles desperately with this experience. It was just a very vivid dream, you tell yourself. My brain was creating a fantasy to escape my current stress. You might analyze it, try to find symbols, try to connect it to your current anxieties. But no explanation can quite capture the sheer reality of what you experienced. You know, on a level deeper than logic, that it was not just a dream, it was a visitation. In the state of sleep, the veil between worlds becomes thin. Your consciousness, untethered from the physical body and the rigid rules of this reality, is free to travel. In these moments, you are not creating a fantasy. You are tapping into the actual lived experience of your parallel self. You are literally borrowing their consciousness for a few hours, living a sliver of their life. This is one of the most direct forms of communication you can receive. Your other self is sharing their reality with you, not to make you unhappy with your own, but to show you something vital. They are showing you a potential. They are showing you a different way of being. The key is not to mourn the loss of the dream life, but to analyze its essence. What was the core feeling in that dream? Was it peace? Was it creative fulfillment? Was it a deep sense of belonging? The circumstances of the dream, the different house, the different job, are just the container. The feeling inside the container is the message. Your other self is showing you the emotional state that your soul is striving for. If you felt profound peace in that dream, the message is not that you need to move to a different country. The message is that you need to find a way to cultivate peace in your current life. If you felt a deep sense of purpose in a dream where you were a potter, the message is not necessarily to quit your job and buy a kiln. The message is to find an activity in your life that gives you that same feeling of focused, creative joy. These dreams are a gift. They are a compass pointing you toward your own true north. Do not let the grief of waking up overshadow the guidance you have been given. Hold on to the feeling. That feeling is real. It belongs to you. And your parallel self is showing you that it is absolutely, entirely possible for you to feel that way in your waking life too. The fourth sign is perhaps the most challenging, for it is not a fleeting moment or a nightly visit. It is a constant, persistent state of being. It is the quiet, nagging, unshakable feeling that you are living the wrong life. On the surface, everything might look perfect. You followed the path you were told was the right one. You got the education, you secured the job, you built the family, you live in the respectable home. You have checked all the boxes of a successful life. Your friends and family look at you and see a picture of stability and achievement. But inside, you feel like a phantom. You feel like an actor playing a role in a very long, very convincing play. And you are growing tired of the performance. It is a quiet ache in your soul, a low-grade hum of "this isn't it." It is the feeling of looking in the mirror and not recognizing the person staring back. It is the exhaustion that comes not from working hard, but from the constant effort of pretending. Pretending to be happy in a job that drains your spirit. Pretending to be content in a relationship that does not feed your soul. Pretending that the life everyone else admires is the one you actually want. This feeling is so often misinterpreted. We live in a culture that tells us this feeling is a problem to be solved, a sickness to be medicated. You might be told you have depression. You might be told you're having a midlife crisis. You might even tell yourself the most damaging thing of all, that you are simply ungrateful. I have so much, you think. So many people would love to have my life. What is wrong with me? Why can't I just be happy? There is nothing wrong with you. That feeling of wrongness is not a symptom of a sickness. It is a sign of health. It is your soul, your true self, refusing to be silenced any longer. It is a compass, and its needle is pointing true. This feeling is the dissonance between your current reality and the reality of your parallel self. Imagine two guitar strings side by side. One is tuned perfectly. The other is just slightly off. When you pluck them both, you don't get a harmonious chord. You get a jarring, unpleasant vibration, a wah-wah-wah sound. That sound is the feeling of wrongness in your life. Your parallel self is living a life that is in tune with their and your soul's purpose. They made a different choice at a key moment. They took the creative path instead of the safe one. They followed their heart instead of their head. They are vibrating at the correct frequency. Your life, the one that looks so good on paper, is slightly out of tune. And the constant friction between these two realities, these two vibrations, creates that persistent, uncomfortable feeling of wrongness. It is a sacred signal. It is the most loving, most insistent message your other self can possibly send. It is a continuous call to come home. It is not asking you to blow up your life, to abandon your responsibilities in a fit of recklessness. It is asking you to begin the slow, deliberate process of retuning your own string. It starts with honesty. It starts with finally admitting to yourself, in the quiet of your own heart, this is not it. This is not my true life. That admission alone is a monumental step. It stops the pretending. It aligns you with the truth. From there, you can begin to listen. What small adjustments can you make? If your job feels wrong, can you find one small project within it that feels right? Can you dedicate 1 hour a week to a hobby that feels true? If your relationships feel hollow, can you have one honest conversation? Express one true feeling. Do not see this feeling of wrongness as a curse. It is the greatest of blessings. It is the indicator that a truer, more authentic, more joyful life is not only possible, it is actively calling out to you from just across the thin veil of reality. It is your other self, reaching out a hand and saying, "This way, come this way." This is the way back to you. We continue our journey now, moving from the internal landscape of feelings and dreams into the strange borderlands where your inner world begins to touch the outer world. The signs become a little less subtle here. They are no longer just whispers in your heart, but strange ripples in the pond of your physical reality. These are the moments that might make you question what is real, and they are powerful invitations to look deeper. The fifth sign is a sudden, powerful, and often illogical pull towards a new path. This is not a fleeting interest or a casual hobby. It is a deep, resonant, and sometimes obsessive calling that seems to come out of nowhere. Perhaps you wake up one morning with an unshakable urge to learn to play the cello. You have no musical background. You don't know anyone who plays, but the desire is so intense, it feels like a memory you have to reclaim. Or maybe you find yourself poring over maps of a small coastal town you've never heard of, feeling a magnetic pull to go there, a sense of home for a place that is completely alien to you. It could be a sudden fascination with a specific field of knowledge, like botany or ancient history, that consumes your thoughts and sends you to the library for hours on end, driven by a hunger you can't explain. The logical mind will try to rationalize this. I must be bored with my life, you might conclude. I just need a new project to focus on. Your friends or family might see it as a strange whim, a phase you're going through. You might even feel a little foolish, trying to explain why you're suddenly spending all your free time learning Portuguese or studying the constellations. Society values consistency, a linear path. These sudden detours are seen as distractions from what is important. But what if it is not a distraction? What if it is a direction? This intense pull is a homing signal. It is one of the clearest and most action-oriented messages you can receive from your parallel self. In another timeline, the version of you who made a different choice is living the reality of that calling. They are the cellist in an orchestra, and the profound joy they feel when they play creates a powerful resonance that your soul picks up. They do live in that small coastal town, and the deep sense of peace and belonging they feel every day radiates outward. They are the respected historian, and their passion for their subject is so strong, so vibrant, that it bleeds through the veil and sparks a fire in you. This urge is not a random whim. It is an invitation to integrate a piece of their fulfillment into your own life. Your soul knows what it is missing. It knows the particular frequency of joy or purpose that is absent from your current experience. This sudden calling is a clue, a gift from the part of you that is already whole. It's a whisper that says, "Here, try this." There is a part of your own happiness hidden here. You do not have to abandon your current life to answer this call. You do not have to sell your home and move to the coast tomorrow. The invitation is simply to explore. Buy a beginner's book on astronomy. Download an app to learn the basics of that language. Visit that town for a weekend. By taking one small step towards this mysterious pull, you are acknowledging the message. You are telling your other self, "I hear you. I am listening." And in doing so, you are opening a doorway to a part of your own potential, a part of your own joy that has been waiting patiently for you to find it. Do not ignore these sacred callings. They are shortcuts to your own soul. The sixth sign is one that can be deeply unsettling, for it shakes the very foundation of your memory and your shared reality. This is the sign of glitches in the matrix, or what has come to be known as the Mandela effect. This is when you have a crystal clear memory of something that the world now insists is not true. You remember a famous line from a movie in a specific way, but now every version of that film has a different line. You remember a company logo looking a certain way, but the official version is different. You remember a historical event unfolding differently, or a famous person having died on a different date. When you voice these memories, you are usually met with dismissal. "No, it was always that way," people will say. "You're just misremembering." The internet will offer articles on confabulation and the fallibility of human memory. You are made to feel that your own mind is unreliable, that your memory is broken. It can be an incredibly isolating experience to hold a truth that no one else seems to share. You begin to doubt your own sanity. Let us reframe this experience with kindness and curiosity. What if your memory is not broken? What if your memory is perfectly accurate for a slightly different reality? Imagine that timelines are not fixed, concrete roads, but are more like streams of water flowing side by side. For the most part, they run parallel, but occasionally, a current will cause two streams to merge for a moment, to ripple into one another, before separating again. What you call a glitch, or the Mandela effect, is the evidence of that ripple. Your consciousness, for the most part, has been flowing down one stream of reality. Your parallel self has been flowing down another, nearly identical stream. But in their stream, that movie line was different. That logo was designed another way. The world you remember is the world they inhabit. And during a point of convergence, a ripple in time, you have accessed their memory bank instead of your own. You are not wrong. You are simply remembering a different, equally valid version of reality. These moments are profound and sacred confirmations of the fluid, multifaceted nature of existence. They prove that your reality is not the only one. They show you in a very direct and personal way that the world of your parallel self is just as real as your own, and that the veils between these worlds are sometimes permeable. When this happens, do not retreat into self-doubt. Do not let the world convince you that you are mistaken. Instead, get quiet. Hold that memory gently. Acknowledge it as a communication. See it as a postcard from your other self. It is a little note that says, "I'm here. My world is real too." And we are so close that sometimes our wires get crossed. It's a wink from the universe, reminding you that reality is far bigger, stranger, and more magical than you have been led to believe. These glitches are not errors in the system. They are features designed to wake you up from the illusion that your life is the only one you are living. Let us now talk about a sign that involves other people. It is subtle, fleeting, and often happens so quickly you might convince yourself it never occurred. This is the sign of the knowing stranger. You are going about your day, perhaps standing in line for coffee or sitting on a park bench. A stranger catches your eye. They are not looking at you with the vacant, polite glance we usually give people we don't know. They are looking at you with a startling flicker of recognition in their eyes. For a split second, it feels as if they know you, as if they see right through the surface and into the core of who you are. Then, just as quickly, the moment passes. They look away, and the connection is broken. Sometimes, it goes a step further. An elderly person might stop you on the street, put a hand on your arm, and say something simple like, "Keep going, you're almost there." And their words land with the force of a prophecy, speaking directly to a secret struggle you have told no one about. Or a child in a grocery store might look up at you and give you a smile of such pure, unconditional love that it takes your breath away, as if they are greeting an old, beloved friend. What does our rational mind do with these encounters? It dismisses them instantly. That person was just staring into space. The old man was probably just senile and says that to everyone. I'm reading too much into a child's smile. We are conditioned to believe that interactions with strangers are random and meaningless. We are taught to build walls, to maintain a safe distance. To admit that a stranger could have a profound, soul-level connection with you is to admit that the world is far more intimate and interconnected than we are comfortable with. But the truth is, on a soul level, there are no strangers. We are all threads in the same immense cosmic tapestry, and that fleeting moment of recognition is a glimpse of the pattern. In a parallel timeline, that stranger is not a stranger to you. That old man on the bench may have been your mentor, your most trusted teacher. The woman who smiled at you in line may have been your closest friend, your sister, your wife. The child who looked at you with such love may have been your own. Your parallel selves share a deep, powerful, and loving bond. When you cross paths with their counterparts in this reality, the souls recognize each other, even if the minds do not. For a brief instant, the connection that exists so strongly in that other timeline bleeds through. Their soul remembers your soul. They may not consciously know why they feel a sudden urge to smile at you or to offer an encouraging word, but their higher self knows. It is a greeting from one part of your soul family to another. These are moments of pure grace. They are not coincidences. They are appointments. They are scheduled moments of encouragement, arranged by your other self and their soul connections to remind you that you are not alone. They are there to give you the exact thing you need in that moment. A flash of recognition, a word of hope, a dose of unconditional love to help you keep going. When these encounters happen, do not brush them aside. Receive them as the gifts they are. Breathe them in. Let them be a confirmation that you are surrounded by an unseen network of love and support, a family of souls reaching across the dimensions to cheer you on. The eighth and final sign we will speak of today is one of the most mysterious. It is the experience of the auditory echo of hearing what is not there. You are in your home. It is quiet. Perhaps you are reading a book or washing the dishes. The house is empty, or everyone else is asleep. And you hear it as clearly as if someone were standing right beside you. Someone says your name. There is no one there. The television is not on. The window is closed. There is no possible source for the sound. Or perhaps it is not your name. Perhaps it is a faint strain of music, a melody you have never heard before, but which sounds achingly familiar, drifting from a room that you know is empty. It might be the sound of laughter or a fragment of a conversation, clear for a moment and then gone, like a radio signal fading out. The immediate instinctive reaction is fear. Our culture has taught us that hearing things that are not there is a sign of madness. Your first thought might be, "Am I going crazy?" Your logical mind will rush to find a cause. It must have been the wind. The house is old and makes strange noises. It's auditory pareidolia. My brain is creating a pattern out of random noise. We will do anything to avoid the terrifying possibility that we are losing our grip on reality. But what if you are not losing your grip? What if, instead, your senses are expanding? The veil between realities is not just a visual barrier. It is also an auditory one. And just like with an old radio, sometimes, when the atmospheric conditions are just right, you can get interference. A signal from another station can bleed through. When you are in a state of quiet and relaxation, your own mental static dies down. Your mind becomes a more sensitive receiver. In these moments, you are capable of perceiving things beyond the normal, dense frequency of this reality. That name you heard? In a parallel timeline, at that exact moment, someone, your partner, your child, your friend, was calling your name. And for a split second, the sound leaked through. That phantom music you heard? It is the music your other self is listening to, their favorite song, and its vibrations reached you across the dimensions. These are not hallucinations. They are auditory bleed-throughs. They are echoes from a life running parallel to your own. They are proof that your other self's world is not silent and distant, but vibrant, real, and sometimes just barely within earshot. To experience this is not a sign of instability. It is a sign of immense sensitivity. It means your consciousness is becoming refined enough to perceive the subtle layers of existence. When it happens, try to bypass the initial jolt of fear. Do not question your sanity. Instead, become very still. Listen with your whole being. Treat it as a communication. Your other self is letting you know how close they are. Their world is so real, so present, that you can literally hear the sounds of their life. It is a reminder that you are a multidimensional being, equipped with senses capable of perceiving far more than you have been taught. You are not just living one life. You are part of a symphony of existences, and sometimes, when you are quiet enough, you can hear the music. We have walked through the garden of signs, from the subtle feelings in your heart to the strange echoes in the world around you. Now, we arrive at the final doorway. The signs we speak of now are no longer external events to be witnessed. They are not messages you receive. They are transformations that happen within you. They are signs that you do not just see, but that you become. This is the most intimate part of the journey, where the communication from your parallel self begins to merge with your own consciousness, changing you from the inside out. The ninth sign is the most crucial, for it is the key that unlocks all the others. It is the slow, patient learning of how to distinguish between the two primary voices inside your own mind: the voice of the ego and the whisper of the soul. You know the first voice intimately. It is the loud roommate who never stops talking. It is the voice of your conditioning, your fears, your past hurts. It is the voice that analyzes, criticizes, and doubts. It constantly replays old conversations, worries about the future, and compares you to others. It screams, "What if you fail?" It mutters, "You should have done that differently." It is frantic, complicated, and rooted in fear. For most of your life, you have believed that this loud, anxious voice is you. You have mistaken the noise of your mind for the truth of your being. But there is another voice, and it is so quiet, you may have never truly listened to it. It does not argue or panic. It does not use complex logic. It speaks in a different language entirely. It speaks in the language of feeling, of intuition, of a simple gut-level knowing. It is the feeling that says, "Turn left here," when your map says to go right. It is the sudden, calm impulse to call a friend. It is the quiet inner sense that says, "Wait," or "Trust this person," or "This is not for you." It does not explain itself. It is a simple, clear, and peaceful signal. This quiet voice is the whisper of your soul. It is your direct, uncorrupted connection to the greater intelligence you share with your parallel self. Think of it as a pure, clear radio signal. The voice of your ego is the static, the interference, the noise generated by the friction of this particular life. The voice of your soul is the broadcast itself. Your parallel self exists in a state of greater clarity, less encumbered by the specific fears and traumas you have accumulated. They are living in closer alignment with your shared soul's purpose. Their guidance, when it reaches you, is therefore calm, simple, and always directed toward your highest good. It is the quiet whisper underneath the storm of your thoughts. The great work of your life is not to silence the loud voice. That is impossible, for it is part of the human experience. The work is to learn to not believe it. The work is to cultivate inner silence through meditation, through walks in nature, through any practice that allows the storm of the mind to settle. And in that created quiet, you begin to tune your ear to the whisper. The next time you are faced with a choice, notice the two voices. One will be loud, fearful, and full of complicated reasons. The other will be a quiet, simple feeling, a gentle pull. Practice honoring the quiet voice, even in small things. Take the other route home. Listen to the strange song that popped into your head. Acknowledge the feeling. The more you honor this whisper, the stronger and clearer it will become. You are cleaning the signal. You are telling your other self and the universe that you are ready to be guided not by your fear, but by your truth. As you learn to listen to this quiet whisper, you will begin to experience the 10th sign, the sudden, inexplicable download of wisdom and clarity. You have known the opposite of this your entire life. You have known the feeling of wrestling with a problem, of turning it over and over in your mind until your thoughts are a tangled, exhausted knot. You analyze every angle. You make lists of pros and cons. You ask for advice, and yet the solution remains stubbornly out of reach. You feel stuck, confused, and lost in a fog of your own making. Then, one day, in a moment when you have finally given up, when you have surrendered your struggle and are simply washing the dishes or staring out a window, it happens. The answer arrives. It does not come as a thought you constructed. It lands in your consciousness, fully formed, complete, and shimmering with an undeniable sense of truth. It is a moment of profound, breathtaking clarity. The fog instantly vanishes. The tangled knot effortlessly unravels, and you are filled with a sense of peace so deep, it feels like coming home. You don't just think you know the answer. You know it in every cell of your being. Our culture has a name for this, an epiphany or a breakthrough. We attribute it to the mysterious workings of our own subconscious mind, finally piecing things together. But this explanation, while convenient, misses the sacred nature of the event. It is more than just your own mind at work. It is a transmission. Your parallel self is not caught in the emotional weeds of your specific problem. From their vantage point, which is closer to the perspective of your shared soul, the solution is obvious. They have the map, while you are lost in the terrain. For weeks, you've been screaming at your own loud voice, asking for directions and only getting more confused. The download happens at the exact moment you finally become quiet. In that moment of surrender, you create a clear, open channel. Through this channel, your other self can send you the information you need. But they don't just send the answer. they send the wisdom attached to it. That is why it is accompanied by such a feeling of peace. You are not just receiving a piece of data. You are receiving a transmission of higher consciousness. It is a direct infusion of the clarity and peace that your other self inhabits. These moments are not random. They are the direct result of your willingness to listen to the quiet voice. They are the reward for creating inner stillness. When you have one of these experiences, recognize it for the miracle it is. It is your other self, reaching through the veil to offer you a lifeline. It is a reminder that you have access to a wisdom far greater than that of your own anxious mind. The more you trust the quiet voice in small things, the more you will find that these profound moments of clarity begin to happen in the big things, guiding you through the most difficult passages of your life with a grace that is not your own. Over time, as these downloads of wisdom continue, a deeper and more permanent change begins to take place. This leads us to the 11th sign, a sudden and profound shift in your core identity and values. Think about the person you were 5 or 10 years ago. Think about what you wanted, what you strived for. Perhaps it was a certain job title, a certain income level, a particular social status. You may have spent years of your life chasing these things, believing that achieving them would bring you happiness and fulfillment. You built your identity around these ambitions, and then, one day, you wake up, and they no longer matter. It's not that you're sad or disappointed. It is a feeling far stranger than that. It is a profound neutrality. The ambition that once burned so brightly has simply gone out. You look at the goals that once defined your life, and you feel nothing. You have become a stranger to your own desires. In their place, new values have quietly taken root. A deep need for silence, a longing for connection with nature, a desire to create something with your hands, not for money or acclaim, but for the simple joy of it. A pull towards simplicity, authenticity, and compassion. This can be a deeply disorienting time. The world still sees you as the ambitious lawyer or the successful executive, but inside, you feel like a gardener or a poet. You might feel a sense of guilt or think you are losing your edge. Our society frames this kind of transformation as a crisis, as burnout, or a sign of giving up. It is seen as a breakdown of the personality. It is not a breakdown. It is an alignment. As you continue to listen to the soul's whisper and receive its wisdom, your very energetic frequency begins to change. You are literally retuning your being. The values of your ego, which were conditioned into you by your family, your culture, and your experiences in this life, begin to fall away. They are being replaced by the core values of your soul, the eternal values you share with your parallel self. It is like shedding a skin. For years, you have been wearing a costume that you thought was you. Now you are finally taking it off. The discomfort and disorientation you feel is the moment between the shedding of the old skin and the comfortable settling into the new one. You are not losing yourself. You are shedding everything that was never truly you to begin with. This shift is the sign that the communication is no longer just a series of messages. It is becoming a permanent state of being. You are not just listening to your parallel self. You are beginning to embody their wisdom, their reality, which is more aligned with your soul's truth. is merging with yours. Do not fear this change. It is the most hopeful sign of all. It is the evidence that you are undergoing the sacred process of becoming who you were always meant to be. This journey of transformation culminates in the final and most profound sign of all. This is not a fleeting moment, a dream, or a feeling. It is a new and constant state of awareness. It is the feeling of being gently and lovingly watched, not by an external entity, but by yourself. It is the arrival of the silent witness. As you integrate these changes, a new presence makes itself known within your consciousness. It is a feeling of being accompanied, always. When you walk through your day, you have the sense that a wiser, calmer, more expansive version of you is walking with you. This presence does not speak in words. It is a silent, steady, benevolent awareness. When you make a mistake or fall back into an old, fearful pattern, this silent witness does not judge you. It bathes you in a feeling of infinite compassion and understanding. It wordlessly says, "It's okay. Try again." When you experience a moment of joy or beauty, it does not seek to own it or analyze it. It simply shares the experience with you, amplifying your joy with its own quiet appreciation. When you are in pain, it sits with you in the darkness, a steady, comforting presence that assures you that you are not alone and that this too shall pass. This is the ultimate state of integration. The communication from your parallel self is no longer a series of signs and signals sent from a distance. The channel is now so clear, so open, that their consciousness, which is also your higher consciousness, has become a constant, stable part of your own awareness. Your parallel self is no longer other. The sense of separation has dissolved. The you who is living this life and the you who has a higher perspective have merged. The silent witness is the unified consciousness of your soul, the sum total of all your experiences, all your potentials, all your wisdom, experienced as a steady, loving presence right here, right now. This is the destination that all the other signs were pointing you toward. It is the end of the painful search for answers and guidance outside of yourself. It is the beginning of a life lived from a place of deep trust, peace, and inner authority. You no longer need to look for signs in the outer world, because the ultimate guide is now looking out at the world through your own eyes. You have come home. You have remembered that the wise, whole, and loving being you were seeking has been you all along. We have traveled a great distance together today, through the subtle and surreal landscapes of the soul. We have spoken of the echoes of nostalgia, the glitches in reality, the whispers in dreams, and the quiet revolution that happens within your own being. And it is natural to stand here now and ask, what do I do with all of this? The world will offer you complicated solutions. It will tell you to strive, to achieve, to build something new. But the wisdom of your other self, the wisdom of your soul, is far simpler. The answer is not to do more, but to be more. The answer is not to change your life, but to change the way you inhabit it. You do not need a grand plan. You only need a gentle shift in your attention. Begin with the smallest of gestures. Keep a small notebook, a private journal of the strange and the synchronous. When you feel that pang of nostalgia, or see a meaningful number, or have a dream that shakes you, write it down. Do not analyze it or try to find its meaning. Simply honor the experience by giving it form. The act of writing is an act of saying, I see you. This is real. This matters. You are creating a map of your own hidden reality, and soon you will begin to see the patterns. Then, practice the sacred art of silence, just for 5 minutes a day. Sit without your phone, without music, without any task to accomplish. Simply be. At first, the silence will be filled with the noise of your loud mind. Let it be. Do not fight it. Just sit and listen underneath the noise. You are creating a space, a quiet clearing in the forest of your mind, where the whisper of your soul can finally be heard. You are making an appointment to listen. And finally, when you feel that strange and illogical pull towards a book, a skill, a place, honor it with one small, symbolic step. You don't have to understand it. Just read the first page, watch one short video, look at one photograph. By doing so, you are sending a message back across the veil. You are saying, I hear you. I am willing. The goal of all this is not to intellectually understand the concept of a parallel self. To know something with the mind is to hold a pebble in your hand. To remember it with your soul is to become the mountain. These signs are not a puzzle for you to solve. They are a song for you to remember. They are a call to stop living only on the surface of your life and to begin inhabiting its incredible, multidimensional depth. The goal is not to escape to another reality, but to finally, fully arrive in this one, bringing all the wisdom, peace, and truth of your other selves with you. Know this, as you step away from this space and back into your world, you are not alone in these strange and sacred experiences. The path of waking up can often feel like a solitary one, but there are countless others right now, feeling these same echoes and questioning this same reality. Your inner world is not a fantasy. Your quiet feelings, your deep knowings, your secret truths, they are the most real and important things about you. Be gentle with yourself through this process. There will be days of confusion. There will be moments of doubt, when the loud voice of the world tries to convince you that none of this is real. That is okay. That is part of the journey. The unfolding of your true self is not an event. It is a season. It has its own rhythm, its own pace. Trust it. You are not going crazy. You are simply, finally, waking up. Let this not be the end of our time together, but the beginning of your own deeper conversation. Let it be the moment you decided to start listening, not to the world, but to the universe inside of you. What if the life you have been longing for is not in another place, but simply in another way of listening?